Warm greetings and welcome to today's African Leadership Group, the night. Please confirm that I am being heard.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent. My name is Itwai Godalo, and I'm happy to be here today. And I'm with one of my sisters. We've only met just recently, but I'm happy and proud to call her my sister. And we're going to be talking about access to justice, a tool for national development, a tool for national development. Our speaker today is a 1987 law and politics graduate of the Bournemouth University, Dorset, England. And she was called to the Nigerian Bar in 1989. Her work experience as a lawyer spans over 35 years, starting her career with Deji Shashegwon Law Firm. That's interesting because I used to audit Deji Shashegwon, especially when he was doing the law reports. So that gives us a connection. In 1994, she joined the Lagos State Ministry of Justice as counsel. I'm sure Fola Afawari had a hand to play for over 30 years. She started her work at the Ministry of Justice as State Counsel on grade level 9 and rose to the position of an Assistant Director in Directorate of Public Prosecutions and Assistant Director of the Directorate of Citizens' Rights. She also worked as the head of unit of Human Rights of the Human Rights Department. For 8 years, she was Director of the Lagos State Office of the Public Defender, where she passionately defended the rights of the indigent residents of Lagos State. She was later redeployed as a director to the Director of Citizens' Rights, and then deployed to as legal director to the Ministry of Women, Ministry of Youth and Social Development. She therefore became a director to head the Citizens Mediation Center at the Lagos State Ministry of Justice. Part of her innovation was increasing the number of centers to 19 offices spread across Lagos State under her watch. Her vast experience in administration and leadership was key factor to her appointment as the Administrator General and Public Trustee of Lagos State in the Ministry of Justice, an office she held for 4 years until her retirement in February 2023. And I can bear witness to the fact that she's extremely passionate about this aspect of her work. She was the first counsel in the history of the Ministry of Justice to have headed the 3 major autonomous agencies, OPD, CMC, and AG and PT. She's an international accredited mediator and a member of the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Counselors and fellow of the Institute of Arbitrators 2015. I can go on and on. Please welcome with me Mrs. Omotola Rotimi. Mrs. Omotola Rotimi, you are most welcome to the Nigerian Leadership Series. This is your first time, and I'm sure it will not be your last time by God's grace. You have a whole list of awards here that I'm not going to bother to read out. Suffice it to say that you are indeed one of the gems that Lagos State has produced. Thank you very much, and you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, the whole house. I'm happy to be with you. It's my first time, and I hope that I'll do justice to the topic today, and I'll continue to join other topics every Thursday from today.
Thank you so much, and you're going to invite the whole of Lagos State to join you.
Oh, yes.
You can put on your camera if you don't
Oh,
mind.
okay, sir. Okay.
I'm not putting on mine today.
Okay. I
All
will.
right. So that.
I'll try and do that.
Uh, okay. You are most
Oh,
welcome. We'd like to see your pretty face. Right. We're talking today as, yeah, fantastic. That's it.
I don't
We're
know. Can
talking
you
to,
see me now?
we can see you, we can see the glasses, we can see everything.
Okay, because
Okay.
I can't see anything. That's why I'm only seeing yes.
Can you see me?
Okay, yes, I can see you now, sir.
All right.
Yes.
That's me. I'm not going to run away.
Uh,
God, God bless you. I know you have a bit of a presentation, but before we go into your presentation, I just want to ask, how did you find yourself in the Lagos State Department of Justice, the Ministry of Justice? Why did you leave my friend, Dechi Shashewo, and you now
ah,
escape?
well, I would say that the passion started from actually when I was in England, really. I had always had that passion to be a crown counsel. But, during our own time, there was still that appetite and, not lots of people, especially if you don't speak the Queen's English. So there was one day that one of my, I think it's my constitutional law teacher then, Hubert, a Jamaican, now said, "Oh, Tola, you're brilliant. Why don't you just go back to Nigeria? And rather than being here, if you stay here, you're just going to end up in Brixton being doing legal aid." So that prompted me to say, okay, if I cannot be a crown counsel, at least I can be a state counsel in Nigeria. So getting to Nigeria, going to the law school, I actually did my NYSC with the Dishashegbon. But because I've always had that passion to be a state counsel or a crown counsel, that was what, moved me and actually motivated me to go into the ministry. And I recall that the day I went for the interview at the Civil Service Commission, they asked me, "Oh, why do you want to be a state counsel?" And this was exactly what I said. That I always wanted to be a crown counsel. So if I cannot be a crown counsel in England, at least I can be a state counsel in Nigeria.
That's fantastic. So the British
Yeah.
lost is Nigeria's game. So thank
Yeah,
God
exactly.
that.
that,
Amazing.
that was it.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
what's the state of our justice function in Nigeria right now, from where you stand and what you think? What's the state of the judiciary and the availability of justice?
Well, I was actually discussing this topic with a colleague of mine yesterday, and lots of people now hanging their wig and gown because why they think that there's too much delay in the courts, people are not getting justice on time. And we're actually brainstorming as to what we can do to make it better, especially the Nigerian Bar Association. Nigerian Bar Association has a big role to play, in ensuring that justice, people get justice on time, in the sense that the delays, most of the time, it's not just the judiciary, it cuts across. Even counsel as well. At times they do delay due to whatever reasons they have. And then also clients as well. They actually can be a clog at times as well. In terms of, for instance, when you're supposed to submit a document, you're not submitting the document on time, the counsel is not able to prepare all the processes on time and things like that. Or maybe there are just family squabbles here and there that is now making people to develop cold feet. Now, let me cite two examples. For instance, when you're talking of cases of domestic violence, most of the time, which is where I am an expert, you will have done everything as a counsel. And then at the last minute, the witness, I always say witness, and the survivor will come and say they are no longer interested in going on with the case. Or they drag their feet. Why? Due to a lot of reasons, starting from the fact that, the economic circumstances of probably the woman, that, okay, if my husband should go to prison, there's nobody to cater for the children. If he sends me out of the house, who is going to take care of my children? I'm not economically independent. I'm economically dependent on the man. So you find out that at the end of the day, they drag feet. They don't want to go ahead with the cases. Well, you're talking of cases of inheritance as well. Let me cite an example. I'm citing examples from, personal experiences with cases I've done. You find people, at the end of the day, they're at each other's throats, and then you're now saying, okay, give me the documents. If you know that you have title to this property, let us see the documents and everything. And then they just go back and forth and back. What they claim to have, they don't have it, and things. So all this, and then we always say that, look, the court cannot manufacture evidence. It is whatever you put before the court that the court can work on. So that's on the part of the clients, probably due to ignorance, due to the fact that they are frustrated, or because families have said, oh, you cannot go to court and come back to be friends. Like they say in Yoruba, so they will now drag their feet and things like that. So all that also, is part of this delay. And then also on the part of the judiciary as well. And I think that is one of the areas where we have to look into now, that the calendar of the judges, at times it just changes overnight. Overnight, you just hear that they are going for a course somewhere, which people were not aware of before. And then you now get adjournment date. By the time you get an adjourn date now, the date that you are given will probably be another 6 months, another 8 months before you can get another date. So at times, even the judges, because of some things that will probably happen within their own sector, their calendar will change all of a sudden, causing delay in justice as well. And then also the fact that, so one of the things that we are even now contemplating is that, look, that the calendar of the judges before, from January to December, at least let us have it, so that people will know when there is public holiday. And then that's another thing again. Public holiday is out of their hands. It's something that affects everybody. So once there is a public holiday, all of a sudden, that public holiday, before you get another date, another 6 months, because it means that you have to go back to the bottom of the queue to get a date again. So these are, in a nutshell, these are just little things that affects or that causes delay in justice most of the time. And then, of course, the judicial staff as well. When I'm talking of the judicial staff now, I'm talking of the support staff, people in the registry and things like that. They too, at times, they can be a clog in the wheel of progress. There was a case that somebody referred recently to me, and I said, look, I've retired, but let me hand it over to somebody that is in private practice. You won't believe that just one process was given 3 different suit numbers. It took almost 8 months before it could be rectified. So, of course, it is justice delayed for the plaintiff that had brought the case to court. At the end of the day, they get frustrated. At times, they'll just abandon the case at the end of the day. So, in a nutshell, those are just little things. So, people in the justice sector, I mean, when I'm saying justice sector now, the judiciary, the judicial staff now, they will have to be more up and doing. They must be not, they have to empathize with the clients. But you see, there's so much nonchalant attitude on, the normal civil service, bureaucracy and all that kind of things also affect them as well. And then that is how they behave. So you find a lot of people, lawyers, even writing petitions against judicial staff for their insolence and rudeness at times. So in a nutshell, that's just some of the things that causes this delay.
So is there any hope? Can it be fixed? Who will bear the cost?
Certainly, it can. Yeah. And you see, we all have a role. We all have a pivotal role, especially the Nigerian Bar Association. You see, when we are talking about justice, every time we go for the NBA, every year in, year out. But then when we now go back to our different offices, our homes, different institutions, everybody forgets about it. That look, how are we going to ensure that justice, people get justice as at when due? Because justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done as at when due. What are the things, all these loopholes, how can we block all these loopholes? How can we be more proactive? How can we think outside the box? So these are things that lawyers have to sit down and think about. Same thing goes for the judiciary as well. When I'm talking of the judiciary now, I'm talking of the judges and, of course, the judicial staff. Yes, during their own workshops and seminars and conferences, these are issues that how can we bridge all these gaps? And then on the side of the citizens and clients, as I would say, they need to be more enlightened that, look, the earlier you bring all your papers to the table, the earlier you get justice. If you know that you want to go on with this case, then you should know that, yes, you want to see it to the end, to the letter, not that halfway you now begin to drag feet or you now develop cold feet. So things like that. And then, of course, our colleagues as well as lawyers. I know that, yes, some lawyers, they will say, oh, because their brief has not been perfected. Their briefs have not been perfected in the sense that the clients have not paid them a particular percentage of money. And therefore, they're not doing what is expected of them. But then we are all officers in the temple of justice. Even where your clients have not paid you as at when due, you should be able to work out something that at least you know that you can continue to go on and without delaying justice at the end of the day. So it's just, we have to continue to train and retrain, and then sensitize the public that, look, this is your right. And then, well, if you know you want to pursue your rights, then you have to follow it to the letter. And that, of course, all the tools will be there. The institutions are there to assist. So including the police, because you see, everything starts with the police at the end of the day. So even the police as well, because, for instance, in the criminal matter, the first point of call will be the police station. How effective are the police in their investigation? When I was in DPP, we've had several cases where we have to send back case files because, well, probably because an alibi had not been investigated, something has not been investigated. You now send back the case file, and then for another 1 year, you might not set your face on your hands on that file again. So even the police, the institutions, various institutions that we have as well, everybody has to be up and doing to ensure that justice is done.
Pastor, you are muted. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Good. Right. Thank you for that. So, you think if we all put hands on deck and so on and so forth, we can try and get our justice system. But I didn't see you mentioning.
We also have a role to play.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see you mentioning, because these days people are beginning not to have a lot of faith in the justice system. They say judges are corrupt. They say the thing goes to the highest bidder. They say that you are not sure, even if you have a good case, that technicality can knock you off and so on and so forth. And therefore, the whole justice system seems to be falling apart. What are your thoughts on that? After
okay,
you can then go into your presentation.
Okay, let me start with the technicality. Even the Supreme Court has said that the court should not dwell so much on technicality. The Supreme Court, there are cases, paraphilia of cases, that you should not dwell too much on technicality. You know, because somebody had brought a case under the wrong rule, all you have to do as a judge is to point the person to the correct one and say, go and amend. You don't need to throw the case out. Go and amend. And I'm giving you 2 days to amend it, amend your case and put everything in order and come back. You see, like I said earlier, we just have to be proactive. Everybody, including the judges, everybody has to be proactive. Not that, oh, you brought it under a different, the wrong rule. Therefore, what you're supposed to bring through a motion, you brought it through ex parte motion and things like that. And then because of that, because it is the wrong one, you now throw it out. Throwing out the baby with the bad water. No, the Supreme Court has said no. So on the issue of throwing out cases on technicality, there are cases that says you should not dwell too much on technicalities. Now, on the issue of bribing and whatever, I am not trying to cover up any judge. It takes two to tango. If you did not offer, the court will not take. Yes, it behoves the officer as an officer in the temple of justice to say no. But then our people, Nigeria, politicians, we think that, oh, because we are the one that put you there, you are the wife of my friend, therefore you can influence me. No, it shouldn't be so. It should not be so. So these are things that we still need to correct. And these are things that people need to stand up to say, look, hey, if something like that is happens and you have evidence, not speculations, not rumor, evidence, concrete evidence, then bring it. The NJC is there to initiate disciplinary action against such officer or against such judge. At the end of the day, the NJC is there. So, but then we must have proof, because he who alleges must prove, not speculation, because the court will not dwell on speculation, not speculations, but proof, concrete proof, evidence. And of course, we have seen so many judges that have been dismissed because of things like that. Because why? There were concrete evidence, and then the person alleging was ready to go all the way to ensure that justice is done. So, like I said, I'm not condoning it. And wherever it happens, then the person should be brought to, such person should be brought to book. But then you must have your evidence, and you must be able to say you are going all the way. Not that you will now go halfway and then you now say, people have come to beg me, therefore I'm abandoning it. People have come to beg you, but that has not corrected what that person had done. Hello? I believe I've answered the question.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, indeed. We think
Okay.
you have answered it. I don't know if Pastor is still there. Okay, Pastor.
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, so that's what I would say. If you have an evidence against a judge, bring it up, or against any officer, even if it's the court registrar. People are writing petitions. Bring up your petition. So far, you have evidence to back it up, and you are ready to go all the way. Bring it up. And like I said, if you don't offer, they won't accept. So, like I said, it takes two to tango. You that also offered it, you are also committing a crime. By offering bribe, you are committing a crime. So it takes two to tango.
It's all right. No problem.
Okay.
No problem at all. You do have a presentation for us.
Yes,
I don't know
sir.
if you want to go quickly into the presentation.
Okay.
Let's make it chop, because there are many people who will have some questions. And
Certainly.
we'll be asking Pastor Sonny to take the Q&A, and then we take it from there. Thank you very much. Thank you so much
Very
for
well,
coming.
sir. Thank you, sir. Hello?
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Yes. My slide, I actually requested for my slide to be shared because I can't do it from my phone from where I am now.
It's being shared. It's being shared.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I can't see it.
If you move your page back, you'll see that it's being shared. Move your page
Oh,
back on your device.
I can't see it. I can only see I think a photograph of some children. That's all I'm seeing.
If you minimize your video, you can see it.
Or swipe your phone to the
Okay,
right or to the
yeah,
Swipe
left.
your
okay.
phone to the right or left.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like I always say, I'm
First
internet
generation techie.
deficient. I'm internet deficient. I'm sorry.
So
Okay. I think I start with. Oh, I'm seeing the first one is introduction. Wow, I
Yeah.
can't see it at all. It's so tiny.
Oh, sorry. Do you have a hard copy?
Well, yes. I think I have the paper written one where I put down my thoughts. I hope
Yeah.
it's in tandem with what I have there.
Don't worry, just go through it, and they'll move the slides for you as you go.
Okay, so I said that the topic actually is access to justice, a tool for national development. So in interpreting it, how can you access justice first, and then when you access justice, how can you use it effectively to develop your community and the nation as a whole? And in the introduction, I said access to justice is crucial for natural development, for promoting sustainable growth, peace, human rights, by enabling citizens to seek redress and participate fully in the society. Uh, And I gave I'm trying to see if I can see it's so tiny, I can't see it at all. I don't know how to do it to enlarge it to see.
do you need us to help you read it out? Would that help?
Oh, certainly, I think that will probably be. I'm so sorry because my handwriting, and there's so many things that I corrected before putting it on the slide.
So I can read it out, and then you can chime in to whatever you want to expatiate on. So this is the second slide.
Okay.
And the second slide says, access to justice is the opportunity to secure your rights under the law. It helps, then the second bullet point, it helps to preserve human dignity. It is a means of assuring.
Okay, okay. So access to justice helps you to secure your rights under the law. Just like what I have been saying before. If you don't access justice, there's no way that you can have your rights preserved. You can have your rights protected if you don't access justice. When people do something to you that is wrong under the law, you should be able to say, I know my rights. I have to go to ensure that I get what is duly mine under the law. Because without that, you are just sitting on your rights, like we lawyers will say. When you sit on your rights, you don't get access to justice, and then you cannot move on in life. And don't forget that when you are talking of law now, when you are talking of access to justice, it cuts across every area of our lives. Be it you are going into a contract, it's part of it. Even going into a marriage, because marriage is also a contract, it is part of it. Even in church, you want to buy property, you inherit your inheritance, a lot of things. Even at the place of work, gender equality and things like that. So you must know your rights in the first instance, and then you should be able to say, because I know my rights, I want to make sure that I actually access justice, and then of course your rights will be preserved. And then the second one says,
it helps to preserve human dignity.
Yeah, it helps to preserve human dignity, especially when it comes to issues of domestic violence. even at your place of work. We see it now happening all over the place. I don't want to go into the Natasha case and things like that. I don't want to go into it. But you can see that, you see, if as at the time you know you're right, and then you immediately access justice, nobody will be able to railroad you. Whether it is at your place of work, maybe you are being discriminated at because you're a woman or because you are a man, at your place of work, you are being discriminated against, then you should be able to stand on your rights, stand up for your rights, or on issues like that. So it helps you to preserve human dignity. That yes, even in my husband's house, as a married woman, I deserve some respect and dignity. At my place of work, I deserve some respect and dignity. Even in the marketplace, anywhere, even within the community, I deserve some respect and dignity. So once once you let people know that, look, I know my rights and I know where to go if you infringe on my right. Because why? You don't have any right to disrespect me. Things like that. So access to justice also, it promotes and it encourages one to have access to justice. Please, the next one.
So the third point, it is a means of assuring good and effective governance.
Yes, it is a means of assuring good and effective governance. Because why? You as a person that knows their rights, person that knows that, okay, let's even start with the right to vote. The right to vote. I am 18 years old. I have a right to vote. You cannot tell me that I cannot vote because I am a woman. You cannot tell me that I cannot vote because I am a student. You cannot tell me that I cannot vote because I don't have a means of livelihood. So far, I am 18 years old and I know a lot about what is going on. So I have a right. I can speak out. Also, you can serve as a watchdog to the government. Serve as an ombudsperson to the government. Something is not right. I have a right to speak up. I bought a merchandise or a product. It is deficient. I know where to go to. I can access justice. I know where to go to that. I can go to the Consumer Protection Unit to say, hey, this is my right. I know my rights under the law. Therefore, I am bringing a case. I want to bring up a case, a petition against a particular producer of a product. Because why? The product is substandard. So these are areas that we are talking about, that people should be able to speak out and say, yes, I have access to justice. The next one.
So if I can maybe read a few of the lines together, so everything on the slide, maybe you can talk to them. So the fourth bullet point says, it helps to grow a civil society and reduce poverty. It can determine the basic human needs such as food, shelter, family relationship, and safety. It means everything to a person in time of crisis.
Yes. Access to justice. If you are able to access justice, you will be able to get all these things. Even in time of crisis, you know what you're supposed to do. When you are in your place of work, you know what you're supposed to do.
Should I move to the next slide? I think you have a couple more slides. Okay.
Yes, please. Yes.
And so this one, why access to justice is a tool for national development. Why is access to justice a tool for national development? It promotes sustainable development. It is a fundamental right and a means of guaranteeing opportunities for all. It promotes inclusion where every person, race or creed, gender has a say. It promotes growth and it increases the productivity of persons and strengthens the peace and development of nations. It is explicitly mentioned in the SDG 4, 5, 6, 10, and 16, which aims to promote peaceful and inclusive society for sustainable. for sustainability. I assume that's what that is.
Yes.
So that's
Thank you.
yes.
Yes. So it promotes sustainable development. And if you look at the government now, we have what you call the Sustainable Development Goals. It's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. It is the whole world, United Nations, and there are 17 goals. So when you're talking of access to justice now, even under the Sustainable Development Goals, it brings out a lot of things. For instance, it promotes human rights, fundamental rights, that everybody has equal access to justice at the end of the day. It guarantees opportunities for everybody, in the sense that when you are talking of issues of gender inequality, when you look at goals 4, 5, 6, goal 10, goal 16, goal 17, and all that under the Sustainable Development Goals. So all those goals says a lot of things about accessing justice, in the sense that it promotes inclusion as well. Inclusion in the sense that wherever you are, whether you are in your home, whether you are in the church, whether you are in the community, whether you are in the society, it promotes inclusion, even in politics, that everybody, you have a right to say what you have to say pertaining to a particular topic in politics. You have a right to air your views and things like that. Then race, when it comes to race and gender as well, you see, it promotes opportunities, sustainable development, in the sense that whether you are black or white, whether you are a male or female, whether you are old or young, in your places of work, you should be able to contribute a lot. In your society, you should be able to contribute your own quota. In the church, you must be able to say your own piece as well. And all this tends towards growth, because it is when you have a peaceful society, where people can air out the way they feel, where people know that, yes, I am going to work, I'm not being discriminated against, then I can put up my best skill. I can put up my best foot forward at the place of work. Because why? I am not being discriminated against. My potentials, I can now use my potentials, the skills that I have in my place of work, and things like that. So sustainable development is an inclusion of all these things. It promotes all these things that we are talking about, so that it sustains the growth of the society. When you have all these things properly keyed in place, of course, the society will develop. Of course, once the society develops, once the nation will develop. Economically, it will develop. Spiritually, it will develop. So all these things has to be in place. The next one, please.
So the next one is on economic growth.
Yeah.
And it says a nation can only develop when there is economic development through infrastructure development to support growth, encouraging innovation and entrepreneurship, facilitate trade and attract investment. A fair and efficient judicial system promotes economic growth through better enforcement of the law, contracts, secure property rights, leading to a healthy business environment.
Okay, thank you. So the judicial system, where you have a fair and efficient judicial system, a fair and efficient one, like what we had said earlier, an efficient judicial system will promote all that had been said just now, that, look, it will promote entrepreneurship, it will promote I'm trying to get the right word now.
Innovation.
Innovation. It will promote innovation. It will promote human development as well. Because you see, where you have where you have where you have economic development, you'll be able to do this. And then let me just cite examples. For instance, I'll start from how, because the first thing that will come to mind is this economic development. How can you come about it? Yes, how you can come about it is that when you are in a place of work or you have a conducive environment to work, where you have all the tools in place, where the institution is strengthened by the government, then, of course, there will be economic growth. Even let's come down to our environment, even from the home, where a husband encourages the wife to have her own business, to go after her own career, and each other, likewise the wife as well, encourages the husband to go after his passion, his career. Of course, at the end of the day, it is going to lead to an economic growth for the society. Because where there is economic growth, where personal skills are being encouraged, where entrepreneurship is being encouraged, then you would have a good development goals there. Then like I said, where you have a good entrepreneurship, the business environment, you have a healthy business environment, then definitely the place, your environment will be conducive for you to go about your private business, whether you are a small scale business or you are into big business, or you are just a small woman selling little things near the house. So far you have an environment that can give you that so far your environment is conducive, then it is easy for you to have a good economic environment. And then, for instance, now when you're talking of accessing justice, when it comes to economic growth, now you're talking of areas where people can access justice. And I'll start with just little contracts, because all these things are things that happens to us in our daily, what we do on day-to-day basis, little contracts that we do and things like that. You must know how to access justice. You must know that, look, this business I want to go into with Mr. X, I must go and meet a lawyer to help me draft my contract. Help me look at the terms of contract. Is it good enough? Even if it's a 1 million naira contract, as small as that, you should be able to say, look, let me see, is all this, can the terms and conditions, will it be good enough for me, for the business to be lucrative for me at the end of the day? So how can I access this? The only way you can do that is by ensuring that you engage a lawyer, or you engage somebody that knows about the business. You yourself, you have done your homework, you know about the business, so that when you are now drawing the terms of your contracts, terms and conditions of the contract, you understand what is inside that contract. Even if it is just a gentleman agreement, that is, if it's an oral contract, that is, you did not even write down anything on paper, but then you must understand each other. You must understand the terms and conditions that you are doing that work for and things. And then when it comes to the courts now, because I wrote something there about the courts as well, being able to assist people with small scale businesses, with people that has a contract agreements, how they can access justice. in such instance. And then you now find out that even a lot of people, they will say, oh, I cannot go to court because of a case of 1 million naira, or because it takes too much time for me to go to court, for me to access justice. But then there are magistrate courts today that have been set up for cases of small scale businesses and cases that are less than 5 million naira. There are some courts that you can take them to. They are called small scale business courts, where you can go and adjudicate on your dispute there. And then it's easy because it's an informal way of. It's an informal court. It's not like the one that you have to start reading the laws and everything. You don't even need a lawyer to go there, so that they can now assist you and say, okay, this business you went into, where did you default and everything? Where have you defaulted? Or where had the other person default? Was there a breach of that agreement and things like that? So a lot of people now are now keen into that into these courts that I talked about in Lagos State. I don't know about other states, but in Lagos State we have we have the special courts for small scale claims, where you can go and say, look, somebody is in breach of this contract that we did, whether it is orally or whether it is written down. And then the courts will look at all the terms and the contracts that you have. And a lot of people now are now going there to ensure that they get justice at the end of the day. So because they know that they can get justice there, they are encouraged to do business. And then also the fact that it also allows them, because the court will also look at the how to assist to recover loans that had been defaulted on, maybe small loans and things like that. Courts will look into it for you. And then, of course, you'll be able to carry on with your business at the end of the day. You get justice. You don't need to go to the big court, to the high court, and go there and wait for years before you can get justice there. So, so at the end of the day, you're able to get justice, which will promote economic growth. Because if you know that you can enter into a contract and you have gone to the small scale courts, like I said, and you know what your terms of contract are, it is easier for you to go into business. It is easier for you to say, okay, I want to start a small business and this is how it will go. And then also, and don't forget that this thing, it resonates back into the society, in the sense that you'll be contributing your quota. You are paying your tax to the government, and then the government is also using that tax to build infrastructures and other things within the society to make sure that there is a good economic environment for people to do their business and thrive at the end of the day.
Okay, so the last 3 points you have on your slides are empowerment and participation, peace and stability, and accountability of government.
Okay, I'll start with the empowerment and participation. Because I'm not able to see my slide, it's dragging me back a bit. Yes, you see, access to justice empowers people to defend their rights and improve the lives and livelihood of the people around them. And the only way you can do it is when you fully participate, in the economic growth of the society. For instance, now, when I'm talking of empowerment, first of all, let me take the participation bit. The participation bit, it has to do with inclusion. People knowing their rights, people knowing where to go to. For instance, like I mentioned earlier, that when you know your rights, and I used somebody buying a defective goods and does not know what to do with it, at the end of the day, you are throwing money away. But then if you know where to go to that, okay, there is a consumer protection unit that I can go to go and report such case. I can write a petition there, and then they will take up this case. And then so many of these people that are into like fake drugs, fake drinks, fake goods, and then people are just sitting down and they are just sitting on their rights because why? They don't know where to go to. These are areas that people can participate and become a watchdog, a whistleblower to the government to say, look, this and this is what we have found in our society. And they can, because the government have regulatory bodies like, let's say, SON, NAFDAC, and so on and so forth, that regulates products that are being brought into Nigeria or that are being manufactured in Nigeria. As a Nigerian, as a citizen, you can go, because you see, when you buy a fake product and you put it in your shop and people know that what they are selling is fake, they won't come to you again. And there's no way you can contribute to the economic growth of the nation. If what you're selling is fake, if what you're selling is killing the people, then people will not patronize you anymore. But then people can now become whistleblower to the government, to all these agencies, to Manufacturing Agency of Nigeria, and SON, all these people that regulate the standards of products. You can become a whistleblower and participate. That, look, I know as a Nigerian citizen, I know my rights, because it is when things like this, if there's too much fake product in the society, it is going to curb and lead to loss of life and livelihood of people. And of course, it will bring down the economy. But then when people know their rights and they say, look, I can access justice by actually participating, by actually going to the right agencies to report such cases, then our environment will be a better place for economic growth. And then, of course, empowerment. How do we empower? By strengthening the institutions that we have. When you strengthen the institutions we have, then it will contribute a lot to the national development. It will contribute a lot to people accessing justice. When we are talking of empowerment now, like I had said earlier on, when when there is an institution, all the right tools are there for the institution to work. You get to the police station, for instance, you meet a competent police officer on the desk that knows his onions. Because why? That police officer had been trained. The police institution has been strengthened. The judiciary has been strengthened. Even the schools, the education system is strengthened. Then, once all these things are there, the infrastructures are there for people to be able to access. I need to go to Kafansha to go and sell my product. The roads are good. Why? Because the government had ensured that there are good roads. These are things that people, it is your right as a citizen. The government is not doing us a favor. It is our right, and we can demand for it. We are not supposed to be sleeping on our rights to say, look, we need good roads to connect, to network, so that I can carry my goods from Ogun State to Enugu. I can carry it to the north. I can carry it from the north down to the south, to the east, to the west, all over Nigeria. So when there are good roads, there are good networks, there are good trains, the infrastructures are there. So all these are things that will empower people for growth in the society, that will not make people to be more responsible towards being productive at the end of the day, and of course also contributing to the nation building, economic development of the nation as well. It is when all these things are in place that will be able to do it. So that's on economic and empowerment and participation. Now, I want to go to that. It also reduces poverty. Yes, access to justice reduces poverty in the sense that it can reduce poverty and inequality in the society. People can protect their lives and property, because you see, when you know your rights, you can protect your rights, you can protect your life and property. It is only when you know your rights. When you know your rights, you know that I have a right to, as a Nigerian citizen, to buy properties. I can own properties anywhere in Nigeria because why? It is my constitutional right. So these are areas that people have to look into to say, okay, that is also, and then access to justice protects your right, because nobody can just come on your property, or nobody can just take your property away from you. Once you have proof of ownership, people cannot take your rights away from you. They cannot take your property off you just like that at the end of the day. So, and then it protects lives as well, because why? The Constitution says that every life must be protected and must be preserved. So I have a right to protect myself. If somebody infringes on my rights or threatens me, I know where to go. I can go to the police. I can go to the police to say, my life has been threatened by XYZ. And where is the proof? I have the proof. I have the video. It is written down. He sent me a threat message. This is it. So I know my right, and I want to exercise that right. Because it is only when you have peace of mind that you can do business, that you can thrive, that you can flourish. And then, like I said, it also, access to justice also reduces poverty, because why? The government is supposed to ensure that we have a conducive environment where people can thrive, where people can do their businesses, small-scale businesses, where poverty can be removed from the society through education, through literacy, through skill acquisition. The government are supposed to provide all this, and people should know their right and demand for it. Then peace and stability. I also say that, yes, access to justice promotes peace and stability, because it supports awareness where people can resolve legitimate grievances. For instance, where there are grievances in the society, how do you resolve your disputes? You don't need to go to court every time to resolve your disputes. You can resolve it by way of mediation. How can I access mediation? There are government institutions that are trained as professional mediators. There are even lawyers. Not only lawyers, anybody can be a mediator. You can be trained to be a mediator, even in church. Even in church, you have mediators, trained mediators that can assist people. That's why you have marriage counselors and all that. They are mediators. They are mediators in a way. So you don't have to be a lawyer to be a mediator. Anybody can be a mediator. And then you can now become an expert mediator. You can even mediate even as an architect. Maybe on a house there is a dispute about how the house was built and is substandard and everything. You can contribute your quota in that area. So what I'm saying is that, you see, it promotes peace and stability. People can resolve their matters legitimately, their grievances legitimately, either through going to court or by like I said, by way of mediation. By way of mediation, you should be able to. Even what our Barr does, our in the villages, the kings and this is mediation. When they see two people fighting and then they try to resolving dispute. It is part of it. So, and by that, when you now ensure that the two people, the dispute has been resolved, both of them, they've accessed justice at the end of the day, and there's peace and tranquility in the society. Even when it comes to conflicts within the community as well, it's the same process. And then when there's peace in the community, that community will thrive. Business-wise, people will be encouraged to come and do business in that community, and then you are now contributing to national development at the end of the day. So these are areas that this is, and then human rights as well. I think I've said a lot about human rights before. That that you can realize your fundamental human rights, and it encourages fights against discrimination and oppression. It also encourages accountability of the government once you have that right there. And I think I'll just quickly go to the last one. I think that is about accountability, right?
Accountability of government.
Accountability of government, because you see, most of these things, I'm just now saying it off-head because I can't read my slide. But then,
I posted
yes,
your slides
accountability.
in the chat room, so people have
Okay,
access
so
to that.
people have access to it. Great. So accountability, you see, a government, a very good, efficient government must be accountable to the members of the society. Must be accountable in everything that they do. There must be transparency and accountability. And that is the only way that a nation can develop economically. Because if the government is not accountable, and we don't know what the government is doing, and then they are just giving us palliative and things like that, and then we think, oh, that's it. I don't believe in palliative. That's my personal this. I believe in government putting the right structures in places to remove poverty. I don't believe in handing out palliative that at the end of the day, somebody will now go, immediately he leaves the gate, the person has sold it, back to poverty again, back to square one. So of what good is the palliative? But when you put proper infrastructure in place, schools are there, good roads are there, conducive environment at the place of work is there. And then the government is accountable. You give accountability of what you do. The budget, okay, how much have you spent? It is our right because we are the taxpayers. We are the one paying the money. It is our money. So we have every right to know how the government is actually how the government is actually using our money, expending our money. If a government is saying, oh, we want to do something, and the society thinks that, oh, it's not going to be useful for the society, we should not sleep on our rights. Should be able to say, as a community, we are writing a memorandum or a referendum or whatever we need to call it to say, look, this is what we want in our own area, because this is what is peculiar to our area that we need in our area. What will translate in area A might not necessarily be what it will translate in area B. So we should be able to say, look, hold government responsible to say, look, do what we have voted you in to do. Do what we have voted you in to do. And then hold our what are they called? The senators, our people from our constituency. We should hold them responsible. We should encourage town meetings where people will be able to come out, whether you are illiterate or you are literate, you are elite or you are middle class or you are a market woman. You should be able to come and send your representatives and air out your grievances to say, hey, you have not represented us well. If you have not represented us well, we have every right to recall you back. But what a lot of people don't know. So there must be a lot of sensitization. You see, it is not when it is time for people to vote that will now be saying, oh, we are doing the jingles and everything. People just go and vote and come back. And that is it at the end of the day. But people should be able to know that, look, there must be a town hall meeting. If in a quarter, a senator or governor or what's it called, member of House of Rep, even a councillor has not accounted for what he has done in the last 3 months. As a member of the society, we should be able to say, look, please come. We want to hear from you. What have you done to assist us? What have you done in the community that is positive? You must be able to, we must be able to stand up and say that. If not, then we have to recall. If we want to recall you and you say no, then the court is there. This person, we are the ones that brought him in, but he's not properly accounting to us. We want to remove him, but he doesn't want to go. But then the court, so a lot of areas like that government really has to be accountable. Government has to be accountable to us in terms of expenditure. The money that is being spent on things that they claim to do for us and everything. We must be able to. We must be able to say yes. We know what is going on and that our money is being used judiciously.
Okay, ma. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, ma.
I think have I covered the
you have most
because
eloquently.
like I said, I don't know this
I
slight thing
can see the passion with which you are driving
yeah.
this. But you know what we are going to do a bit is like
Yes,
we have a couple of people that may have one or two questions and maybe
very well.
things that are of particular concern to them so that you are able to answer and clarify. My name
Yes.
is Sonny Enebi. I co-host the program with Pastor Itua just by way of introduction. Some
Okay.
people are raising their hand already, and I really want to commend your passion. I really like sometimes the passion with which, and I'm not being patronizing now, with which women deliver
Thank you.
any conviction that they have. And I can see that coming across. I will just ask one or two questions before I open the floor.
Okay, sir.
I am looking at you, and you are an advocate for women, children, sexual and gender-based violence.
Yes.
Is sexual violence the same as sexual harassment? If it's not, I mean, okay, let me just answer that. I know it's not the
Okay.
same. So violence is violence against women. Harassment may not necessarily be violent or anything. If it is not, and people want proof, when a lady is sexually harassed, how can she prove that she was harassed? Because the consumer of the harassment eats it at the point of harassment.
Yes.
Except, so it's not, so how can she prove when we keep saying that we need proof if somebody is harassed?
Okay. Okay. Well, the first one you said, is there a difference between sexual harassment and sexual violence?
Yes.
Or is it domestic violence?
Well, the sexual
Well,
harassment and sexual stroke gender-based violence.
violence. Okay.
Yeah.
You see, when we are talking of sexual harassment and gender-based violence now, it is not only women, even men do
No, let's just
suffer.
leave it. Yeah, we know, but let's leave it with
Yes.
women for now.
Okay.
Let's just
So
restrict
now,
ourselves to women.
you see, now, like we'll say, and I'm going to also put a bit of I'm also a forensic expert, and it's also one of the areas, how to collate evidence of sexual assaults and things like that. You see, when a woman is harassed or sexual, number one, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to do a lot of sensitization. A lot. What we have is very, very minute. But then I can tell you that nursery, school children, because I'm one of the mentees for public schools in Lagos State, we have clubs in schools that we call Queens and Kings, where it's like a club and where we teach them about all this domestic and sexual harassment and everything. You'll be surprised that children are even more enlightened than adults. So what the first thing is sensitization. You have to sensitize the public. Speak out immediately anything happens. Whether it is minute, don't say that it is minute. Speak out. That's the first thing. Because by speaking out, you are curbing a lot of things. It serves as a deterrent. Then you can quickly nip it at the bud. Then even if at all there are evidences to be preserved that can be used in future, you can quickly easily get help and have those evidences preserved. So now let me now go to the issue of the evidence that, how do you have evidence? You see, one thing is that, and it has to do with this issue of knowing what to do at the right time. There is no how a woman will be harassed that you will not want to defend yourself. Every human being, even you as a man, if somebody comes to you from the back and wants to slap you, you'll be on the defensive mode. When you're in that defensive mode, a lot of things is happening. A woman scratches the face of the assailant. But she goes to take her bath. She has washed away evidence. But if she knows that, look, I know that I scratched that man's face, I am going to go straight and cut my nails and preserve it. Because under those fingernails, there is evidence that you can use for DNA. When you come in contact with me as a person, even if you sit down and you get up, and I now sit on that same seat that you have sat on, and I get up, by the time they do a forensic test on our clothes, the wools and things from your cloth will be on my own. So if an assailant now assails a woman and he's wearing a particular cloth at that time and that woman, please don't discard it, because there is evidence. Even if the man said, I didn't touch her, but the mere fact that I now saw there is evidence of your fabric on your fabric on her fabric, then you now have to now explain how it got there. Now, let us now zero in into now saying, okay, where a woman has been sexually assaulted, we're all adults. We shed hair from the body every minute of the day, and it's replaced. It's a forensic thing. Go and check it. We shed hair from the body. When a man assaults a woman, the pubic hair will be on that of the woman. And that's why we always say, please don't take your bath. Go straight to the hospital where they will collect all those evidence. The ones you can collect yourself by preserving the cloth, put it in a nylon bag. So, like I said, it goes down to sensitizing the public, how to defend yourself. Even in schools now, karate, that they are doing karate and everything, how you can defend yourself when you are in that kind of area. For instance,
do we have all these things in Nigeria to test all these things?
We do. But you see, the sensitization is not enough. And that is where
first of all is to be sure that we have them. We have. We have. Okay. I'm talking from experience. Okay. We have. I mean, because most of us don't know. We just think this thing, we only see them in film. We think that they are not available in Nigeria.
They are very, 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 very available. Really? Very. At the end, I had listed some areas where people can access justice, where people can go to. Like we have a domestic and sexual DSVA, the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency in Nigeria. I'm even also in Lagos State. I'm also a member of that team in Lagos State. And we have in the offices at in Alausa, CBD in Alausa. When you go there, they will assist. We have we have Mirabel Center in Lasut, that deals only with cases of sexual assault. So when somebody has been assaulted and the person is quickly taken there, they will be able to collect all the evidence. The police will be there to interview the person when the evidence is still fresh, when the memory is still fresh, and things like that there. And we'll be having a lot of convictions.
Honestly, this is very good to know, because not many people are aware. But I'm happy that you are stating it. Because we are finishing maybe at the bottom of the hour, I will quickly take the questions that are available. Okay. Maybe they have some clarification. And then if we have more time, we'll come back to this. So I will take Lemisi Ransom Kuti, Auntie Lemisi, and Professor Nike Grinch. These are seasoned aunties, so they have some tough questions for you. Be ready. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Barrister.
Good afternoon, ma.
Thank you so much for your, vavavoom. Continue the struggle. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. My quick questions. You've talked about awareness, but I really think there is not enough individual departments are doing one thing or the other, like La Scopa is doing consumer rights and all of that. But I really think a lot more effort needs to be made to ensure that citizens understand their rights, whether it's consumer rights, human rights. I know CSOs, there are pockets of organizations doing one thing or the other. But I really don't feel, I'm sure if I go down to my security guards now and ask them, they may not have a clue. So how can the state make it a more robust information? Because when they're doing elections, they know how to reach everybody. So
Exactly.
there must be a methodology for sustainable communication and engagement and enlightenment of the citizenry. That's one question. So how can we do more of that? Now, the issue of sexual harassment. I tend to feel that a lot of people, men and women, don't understand this sexual harassment something, because a lot of people think it is toasting when you shake a woman's hand and you squeeze it. They think it's just a form of affection, just letting you know I like you. They don't see it as harassment. I think we really need. I know we're doing a lot about domestic sexual violence, because I'm in touch with Mrs. Rose Vivor,
Lola,
and
Lola, yeah.
yes, doing a fantastic job.
Yes.
Exactly, doing a fantastic job. But the sexual harassment aspect seems to be missing, until it gets to violence, when you are beating them and all that. Yes, there's a lot of work there, but that sexual harassment, that preserving the space of an individual, whether in public or in the workplace, I'd like to know what measures you think we can take to create protocols, awareness creation, mitigation measures, and particularly in workplaces, places like Senate and House of Assembly, and private institutions, where it will be known that there's a place you can go to if you are sexually harassed, and you may not feel brave enough to kick the man, where it will hurt him very nicely. So where can you go? So how can we start that process of making it a legal construct, a legal framework, where in each of these institutions there are places? First of all, there's education about what sexual harassment means, because let me tell you, the men don't understand it. They think, I love her now, I must show her, I'm toasting her. And they don't understand that it intimidates the woman, it's disrespectful to the woman or to the men. Breaching somebody's private space should be something that becomes high in the consciousness of the Nigerian citizen. That is not just all right to go hug somebody that you don't have a prior relationship with. So I just want you to touch on that, how we can create, these safe spaces in the public and guarantee the safety of our citizens, to have that environment for potential victims. And it has to be really a noisy blast across the state and across the nation. That's my question to you. Thank you so much again for all the fantastic work you're doing, and your fantastic speech today. We loved it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, I agree with you that we still need to do a lot of awareness. Perhaps, you see, that is where we have to hold our government responsible, right from councillor to Mr. President. That look, part of your campaign, what's it called? Your campaign manifesto must contain issues of sexual violence and harassment. That when you get to this post, how do you want to eradicate or minimize this kind of thing in our society? It should be part of what they are doing. And like I said earlier on, I said I don't believe in palliatives. Even where they now do their town hall meetings and palliatives and everything and things, it should also be where they shall be able to educate people. In the market space, they should be able to educate people there. You see, all these institutions, like we said, yes, Lagos state government have these institutions, but then if you look at it, it's like a drop of water in the mighty ocean. We have almost about over 25 million people in Nigeria. So how many people are actually aware of all these where to go and that it is wrong to do this? So it has to start from the grassroots. It has to start from the community that we are, that we live in, the balance, the faith-based, what do they call them now? People in our community, the PCSC that works with the police, even the police themselves. Every institution should have that plaque on their wall, and it should be part of. Maybe we should start having, maybe these are things that has to go to the House of Assembly, and from our House of Assembly and also to the National Assembly, that at every workspace there must be what's it called, topics about in your handbook, the company handbook, that issues of gender violence, issues of harassment, sexual harassment at the place of work, that it will not be condoned. And even instead of just putting decorations on the walls in our offices, why can't we hang things like say no to sexual harassment, say no to gender violence, say no to this? So these are areas that we can use to create awareness. Like I said, children in Lagos State, at least government schools, I know, we even give them what's it called? There are so many safeguard books and things like that we give these children to take home. We even did the child rights law, a simplified version that looks like in cartoon form, that a 6-year-old can actually pick it up and read it. Find it interesting. You cannot touch my body parts. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. They know it. We even teach them songs. My eyes, my nose, that they are mine. You cannot, if you touch it, I'll tell my mommy. We have songs like that we teach these children. Maybe we have to be singing it to adults as well, so that people will know, it will be in our psyche that, look, you cannot just hold a woman and say because you are toasting her, you are holding her hand, going into her space. You cannot go into a space of a woman without her permission. So that awareness, even our t-shirts, most of the time, when we go for all these works and everything on gender-based the domestic violence and everything, after that day that we wear that t-shirt, Okpari, we put it, we'll give it to maybe our house girl, or we use it to clean the floor. Why are we not wearing it? When we go for our exercise, morning exercise in the morning, I wear mine. And when people see, they say, madam, say no to violence. Say no to, hey, Emma, don't come and arrest me. If I touch my wife, and then I begin to sensitize them. From there, that no, the Lord does not say that this is what the Lord says, this is what the Lord says. Even when I'm going for my walk exercise in the morning. So these are things that even when you wear that t-shirt every time on the road, it is sending some this thing to people. At times, because some of them have numbers where you can call. Some people will stop me on the road and say, madam, please, can I write down this number? Please show, do you mind if I write it from your back? I say, no, fine. You can snap it. So these are areas that even we as individuals, we can start, and then we can hold the government responsible as well. That government needs to do a lot. It is part of governance, because it is when you have a peaceful society that you can have good governance.
Okay,
that is when economy can thrive. A woman that has been battered cannot be productive in any environment. So these are three things. And then for the sexual harassment as well, what can we do? Even in our workplaces, CCTVs. Every part of every part. Maybe they might have to make it compulsory now. You have a company, there must be adequate CCTV. In schools, there must be adequate CCTV. If not, let the government shut down the place. There must be, even in government places of work, even in the washroom, in the toilet. I'm not saying in the toilet itself, but the wash area where you wash your hands, because they harass people there. So we have to put safeguards in all this area, in all these places. Yes, I understand. And then you see all these NGOs, CSOs and everything, we still have a lot of work to do together. So it's not that somebody is just championing their own cause, but all of us, if we believe in one cause, let us sit together. Up till today, madam, you know that the CEDAW law, they refused to pass it at the National Assembly. That was why Lagos State government, I was part of it, that look, we cannot continue like this. That was why Lagos State now fashioned our own domestic violence law in Lagos State. And then, of course, other states began to follow suit and copy and paste. Because why? They refused to pass it at the National Assembly. Because why?
I feel
Men,
your passion,
with
man.
all due respect, are the abusers most of the time, and they don't want to pass it there. When
Exactly.
a senator has a 14-year-old wife at home.
All right. Okay. I feel your passion, and I know you can talk on this topic. Let's take Professor Adenike Grange.
Okay.
She has a question for you, and maybe after that, Jumoke has one question or two, and then we'll begin to wind down the conversation. But thank you very much. Your passion is palpable, and it's transferring through. My computer is very hot now, you know. Professor Nike, please go ahead.
Yes.
Pardon me, you see.
Thank you
Just
very
something
much, Barrister
that I'm so
Tola.
passionate about.
Barrister
Yeah.
Tola.
Thank you, ma.
Yes,
Ma?
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
You
ma.
know,
Yes, ma.
as Pastor has said, you have infected all of us with your passion. You know.
Thank you, ma.
Well done, well done. You know, there's a lot that Lagos State is doing. I know that. But Lagos State is not the whole of Nigeria. So what do you think? How do you think that the model that you have in Lagos State can be replicated in other states? That is that. Secondly, I have collected a lot of cases of child sexual abuse online, you know, reports online. What does one do with that? Because when they're online, we don't know where they're coming from. So is there any provision made for checking, you know, internet to see whether there's any problem happening in Nigeria and which part of Nigeria, etc., with children in particular, children and women, but I have quite a lot of them for the children. So, and finally, I also like the way you have discussed the Millennium Development Goals as our guidelines to getting our rights in Nigeria, rights to various things, development, facilities, etc., etc. By doing that, you are sort of acting as a hybrid advocate because you are with government and you are also with us, CSOs, I hope. You know,
Yeah.
how can you play that double role? We would like you to continue, but we don't want the government to see you as a nuisance and then take you away from us. You know, so you just have to realize that you are astride both groups of people who are, you know, working in contrary directions. You know, so you have to be very much aware of that. We want you on our side, definitely. But we also want you to continue to respond to our own advocacy by being with government. Okay. Now, do you contribute to reports, annual reports for MDGs? And if so, what what kind of report is given to the global community about MDGs in Nigeria? Because we don't see it, we don't see anything happening, except perhaps in Lagos. I want to applaud you again for totally rejecting the issue of palliatives. Palliatives are just meant to keep people poor. You know, they are,
Yes.
yes, and inequitable. You know, there is no way that they are not giving the palliatives to people who they like. You know, there's a lot of nepotism there. So thanks very much indeed. We will like, you know, could you please put your, whether it's your email
on the platform so we can contact you at large. You know, there's a lot of work for you to do, but I know that you can cope. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Um, let me start with the um, online abuses, with especially with children. I'm sure, ma, that you probably have seen this. I think I saw it 2 days ago about in the north, one girl that was being beaten in one Islamic school, and it is very, very traumatic. Um, yes, things like this, I think, is probably one of the areas where um, we have to get the government, the buy of the government, even CSOs and other people to say all these online abuses, because it's something that most of the time we don't even know whether it happened in Nigeria or it happened in another African country. We can't even say exactly where the video or the post actually comes from. And so it's always difficult at times. But what I do most of the time is that when I see such, I send them to all agencies that I think can um, can investigate or do something. For instance, the domestic violence response team, immediately I'll say, oh, have you seen this? Do we have anything concerning it? The Ministry of Youth and Social Development is a very key ministry. I'll call the director child, send it that, look, can you find out this thing? I understand that it happened in Badagry. And then she will get back to me to say, oh, we are on it. We saw it as well. We are on it. So it's just for people to know where, even if it's not the right place, somebody somewhere will know who. That is one. Then another way that another area that can help is the media itself on this area. You know, all this, I'm not that IT savvy, but you know, all this Twitter and all this TikTok and everything. There are some people that are so good at it that in the media that they know how to know exactly which area this thing came from or where it actually originated from. So the media also should have a responsibility in this area to assist us in all this online. Perhaps that should be one of the advocacy that we are going to do, that all these online abuses, especially with regards to children, how do we curb it? How can we get people that can actually give us, you know, a lead way to such instance? So I think that's what we can do in those areas, and then have the media people to actually I know that I don't want to actually mention any particular media house, but I know that there are a lot of media houses in Lagos that once they see something trending, they will post it, and then people will start talking about it and things like that. So perhaps they might even assist us more in ensuring that we even get to the root of where that particular post emanates from and how the person got it, and then we can take it up from there. Then what can be done in other states? Yes, other states. When I was in service, we have assisted a lot of states by ensuring that they promote or they strengthen their access to justice. For instance, like establishing their own office of the public defender, domestic and sexual violence agency, and human rights. Citizens' rights and human rights unit in the Ministry of Justice. So during when I was in service, I even went as far as the north to assist them in establishing the Office of the Public Defender. In fact, virtually all the states in the Western state, Ondo, Ekiti, I was there I worked with the Attorney General to ensure that they have all these institutions in place. But then, like I had said earlier, when Pastor Igodalo was talking to me, that NBA, Nigerian Bar Association, also has a lot of role to play to say, look, all these institutions, the attorneys general of other states, go and emulate Lagos State. Though they do come, they come and understudy. At times, some of them will even copy and paste, and then they forget to remove Lagos State when they copy and paste. But then, you see, at least they have started somewhere. So go and learn from Lagos State. So the new attorneys general, that when they swear in the new commissioners, you have an attorney general. Okay, in your Ministry of Justice, you must have all these agencies in place. So let the community, let them demand for it. It's part of government's responsibility. You must have all this so that people can access justice. People can know where to go to. I can tell you that, look, a lot of people from our neighboring states, they come to Lagos State to come and report cases. But unfortunately, even last week, there was one that I had handled. But unfortunately, you see, the matter happened outside Lagos. And the lady does not live in Lagos. So the police in Lagos State, with the gender desk, we have gender desk in Lagos State. Some police stations are designated for domestic violence, and they are trained for it. So you don't go to police station and then you just meet one man on the table, and then you are talking about gender or domestic violence, and you say it's a family matter. Go and settle it at home. But because there is a gender desk in a particular police station, you know where to go to, they will quickly pick the case. So going back to what I said, unfortunately, the police cannot go because it's outside their jurisdiction to arrest the man. Because like that other state, they don't have these things in place.
Yeah.
So the only thing we could do for the woman is to ensure that the woman leaves the place. We call it safety flight. Leaves the place for the time being, and with her children, and then we got her a protective accommodation, pending the time that their matters can be resolved. That was the most we can do. Unfortunately, we cannot go, the police cannot go after the man. So now, going back to what I'm saying, so it now behoves the governor of every state and the attorney general. So when they are campaigning, vote me in as governor, it should be part of their campaign, this thing. If not, we won't vote for you. Their manifesto, that all these things, access to justice, how can we access justice in our states? And then the attorney general must have it. That, look, I am the attorney general and commissioner for justice in this state. I must have this department, this department, this department, this department. I must have them in my ministry so that people can access justice. So that's for that. And then for the
If I leave you, you will keep
MDs and everything, I am no longer, I have retired. So if government called me and say I should come and work for them, I will work. If CSO calls me to say, come and join us, why not? I will join. I'm already retired, ma.
Okay,
So
that's better.
yes, I'm retired. So
Right.
I can work with both sides. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, ma.
Prof, you have
Thank
any
you very
more
much.
question?
Thank
Okay,
you.
all right.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much. You are retired, but you don't look tired at all.
Yeah.
So
People
looks
still
as
call
if
me every day.
it looks
Every
as if you are
day.
just about to start. But we really,
Yes.
really appreciate your passion and the delivery that you have made. And I think Jumoke has one question, and then she would ask you to round up, and we'll take a few announcements. If Pastor is still around, then we'll be able to extend our real appreciation. But if it's not, I really, really love the passion with which you delivered. And I'm hoping that that passion will catch up. I hope you left some of this passion in the ministry, because it's good
Oh,
to
yeah.
speak like this.
Yes, because I still keep them on their toes. Anytime I call, they say, Madam is calling again. There must be something happening.
Oh, that's great.
All right.
Once a soldier, always a soldier.
I agree with you. I agree with you. All right. Well done, Jumoke. Over to you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Barrister Rotimi. It's so good to have you here. And I'm
Thank
just
you,
lending
ma'am.
my voice to all the appreciation and the passion. You did an exceptional job in really educating us about this access to justice. My question is one with MBA and the need for us to build strong institutions that support national development, because without that, there's nothing we can do. So what is the procedure or protocol that MBA has in place to hold these corrupt members accountable and also to met out consequences. Is there a publication that NBA has maybe every quarter or so to talk about allegations or against, like you had mentioned, whether it's whistleblowers and the cases that they are reviewing? I think that would really help, because without that accountability of this judicial system, all other institutions will fail. So if you can just speak to that a little bit, and then I'll ask another question. It's not a question, but just follow up with one more point with you. Thank you.
Yes, I know that in as much as I'm not trying to blow the trumpet of a particular branch of the NBA, in Lagos, okay, let me just say that in Lagos State, generally, the NBAs are proactive. The NBA, the different branches, Ikeja, especially Ikeja, Ikorodu, Lagos branch, they always have meetings with the CJ. During the NBA week, they have all these sessions where different topics are being addressed. And apart from that, at the monthly meetings of the NBA, that's another avenue where all these things can be discussed. If there is something that happened, you can bring it up at the meeting, and then the NBA can now sit down. And don't forget that in every branch we have different committees. You know, the NBA has different committees. So the particular committee that will look at the matter in question, you know, they will take it up. If it has to do with the judicial staff, like I said, a lot of matters had. There was a time, I don't want to take so much time, but I can tell you that when I was director of public defender, there was something that happened within the court premises that a junior lawyer did, and I tried to correct her. And because her father was SAN, she was very rude. So I pointed it out to the lawyer that came with her, and I said, if you announce her appearance, I am going to stand up in front of the judge, and I'll say the judge should not hear your case. Unfortunately for them, I now know the owner, the clients of this thing. I called the client and said, you need to debrief these people. They are not good enough to be your counsel. So once I was saying it and everything, a lot of people came to, Madam OPD, what happened? And immediately I called all the NBAs in Lagos State. And I said, I am bringing a petition. A lawyer needs to be disciplined on XYZ. And the thing escalated. The father, the SAN, the following day came to my office to come and apologize. And I said, it's unbecoming of a lawyer to do what your daughter did in court. So what am I saying there is that immediately NBA jumped on the wagon and ensure that, yes, something has to be done. And I know that a lot of things, just like yesterday, we were talking about the Federal High Court. They were talking about some lawyers that lawyers have to file an affidavit and everything, and it's now becoming an issue round. And I said, look, why don't we be proactive? Let us engage the admin judge through the NBA, all the NBA's chairmen in Lagos State, come with one front, go and see the admin judge and say, this is what and what and what we have observed at the registry, and it's not giving the courts a good name. So things like that are things that NBA should do in their own respective branch. And then at the national level as well, we also have all these committees as well. So it is something that can also be escalated up to the national level, especially when it has to do with National Assembly. It can be escalated there, and lawyers can say, oh, we are not going to, this is the stand of the NBA, we are not going to have it, this person must get justice, and this is how and justice must be seen to be done. So the NBA has a role. We as lawyers, we have our role. As a citizen, as a member of a community, we have our roles. Then as a body of the Nigerian Bar Association, we also have a role to play as well. So I believe I've answered your question. Yes.
Thank you. You did, and I really must salute your courage and your boldness in also standing for truth. That's
Thank you.
something that it's really much needed, even as a citizen and then as a lawyer. So that's courageous. And one more question, and then I think we're going to start to close. Is this access to justice, which is really a tool, is there like a periodic hotline or information session that maybe the NBA does for the public so that they have this information? Because this really shouldn't be a one-time thing. It should be something that people know that if they go to this maybe YouTube or Instagram page or website, maybe not website, but maybe some kind of podcast that NBA does quarterly or monthly or however periodically to also ensure that Nigerians have this information. Does something like that exist at the moment?
I know that it exists between lawyers. Whether it now translates to the public, I cannot really ascertain. I'm not so sure. But I know that yes, amongst lawyers, it was one of the podcasts that I saw yesterday that I said the issue of the Federal High Court, and we started discussing it, and I gave them a way out, a solution to how they can go about it. So what you have said is very, very important. And I think I'm going to bring it up with the chairman of, at least let's start with Lagos, to say, look, there must be a way where the public should be able to reach the NBA. You know, maybe it's going to be a Dropbox. Maybe it's not only when we are doing our law week alone, but where people can actually come in and say, look, I need to report this. And then the NBA can now direct that person to the appropriate authority that will handle it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
but
That's
then
probably
if you
something
look
that we
at
can go
if
ahead.
you just on in Lagos State, if you look at the list of I listed some areas that people can access, and there is public advisory center. If you check it, that public advisory center is under the Ministry of Justice, and people can actually walk in. It's in Alausa by Elephant House. People can walk in there to say, look, I am confused about this this thing that government is doing. Where can I go? They will direct the person. I am confused. I don't know. I have a product that I bought that is bad. I don't even know where to go. They'll say, okay, you can go to the consumer protection unit. They will give the person a referral to go there. So that agency is very, very important to the public. And that's why I had put the number of a contact person where the public can actually go to say, look, no on any topic, if you go there, they should be able to say, okay, go to this ministry. It is this ministry that handles it, whether it is sport, whether it is commerce, whether it is justice. Do you understand, ma? Whether it
Yes,
is
I do.
youth and women poverty alleviation, wealth creation. So they are the like the is it the map or something like that? You know, when you are going and you are lost, information desk, like an information desk for the government. They are the information desk for the government. So not only the Ministry of Justice. So that's one area. And then I will find out with the Ministry of Justice, with the NBA, if they have, and then I can report it back to the house here to say, okay, NBA has XYZ. So you can post it to the public.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know, I think Professor Grange has said that you are retired, but you're not tired. So there's a lot of work ahead for you. And we definitely, especially in the civil society organizations, we need people like you, that you're courageous, you're bold, you're transparent in your communication to also help guide the process, and also the youth to also help educate the youth so that they have information that they need to protect themselves as they also take on the reins of leadership. So thank you again for this time. I have a lot of ask, but it's going to be offline because I don't want to put you onto the spot. But there are a lot of things that I see that you can do with us in this space. Your counsel this afternoon or this evening has been very, very insightful. So appreciate your time. And we really look forward to working with you on other initiatives. So thank you so much. I have a couple of announcements from from Africa Leadership Group, and this, Barrister Rotimi, this will be of interest to you. So we have this course that we call the Citizens Responsibility course, and we do this program for 6 weeks, and we invite people in this space to help educate the citizens on their civil rights and their citizens' responsibility in terms of engaging for national development. So I posted a flyer in the chat room for registration. That class, I believe, is starting on the 19th of April. Don't quote me, but the deadline is the 15th to register. So I encourage everyone to please register for that Citizens Responsibility course, and then you become a change agent with the information that you have. We've heard from Barrister Rotimi today. There's a lot of information that we need that we are going to also use to help our community and our nation develop at large. And then this, we also have the Itwa Olajide Godalum Real Mentorship Program, Responsible, Ethical, Accountable Leadership Mentorship Program. So that will be coming up. We're right now building a pool of mentors. So we would also be putting the information out for you to please apply for that spot to be a mentor. We have a few good mentors here. Professor Grange is a second-time mentor, and we need more people to sign up for this. This is how we begin to change minds. This is how we begin to influence the next generation to be more accountable and to take the reins of responsible and ethical leaders. So thank you all again. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same Zoom link, a different topic. We are also always so glad to have you join us every Thursday to learn more about how we can work together to rebuild our great nation. There is nowhere like Nigeria. There is no place like home. Is our nation, is ours to build. And we just want to remember the people of Plateau State this evening as well, for us to just pray for them. And the heavy rains fell and homes were destroyed and properties lost. Our heart goes out to them. I don't have the details yet, but just before this program, someone had sent us some information. So if we can just take one moment of silence to pray for the people of Plateau State, for God to comfort them, for God to send them help, and for God to be merciful and gracious unto them. Amen. Thank you all so much. Pastor Fanny, anything else?
No, I think we are really done. Just to say thank you to everyone that has been on the program. I'm not sure Pastor Rita is around. Barrister Omotola Rotimi, you are truly, really appreciated, for your delivery and for your passion. And
Thank you, sir.
hope that this job you started in the ministry is continued. For every other person, thank you for joining us once again this Thursday. We look forward to you linking with us next week, Thursday, same time, same Zoom platform. Remain blessed and enjoy the rest of your week. God bless you all. Bye-bye. Bye. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good evening.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Barrister.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Very, very
That was
interesting
terrific.
examples that you gave
How I
us.
wish we could have 10 people like you.
Don't worry, I'll
know,
work. Just call me anytime, and then
Okay.
I'll be happy to work with you.
Thank
And
let
we
me
will
just
call
say
you.
this. Let me say this, though. The topic says that access to justice, tool for national development. And when I was working in the bank, I worked in an international bank, and our people wanted to bring a product to Nigeria. But they did their own research independent of us, and they said they were not going to run that product in Nigeria, even though we are craving for it. Do you know what it was? It was a mortgage product. And their research showed them that it takes an average of 7 to 10 years to get justice from a
That's
Nigerian
right.
court. From a
Yeah,
Nigerian court. And so if they introduce a mortgage product and they have to foreclose on it, how on earth are they going to do that? So they withdrew from
exactly.
introducing that project. And so that deprived us of that particular thing. So you can see how
Mortgage,
it
yeah.
hampers national development when there's no access
Growth,
to
yeah.
justice. A very big issue.